All right, so this video tutorial will take you through the process of creating a perpendicular bisector of a segment. So basically what we're doing here is that we are given a segment. You can see here that I'm given segment WZ. And I'm going to create a perpendicular bisector for this specific segment. Essentially what I'm doing is I am cutting this line segment directly in half with another line segment that's going to go up and down here. So it's going to be cutting this directly in half, but specifically it's going to be creating 90-degree angles. That's exactly what the word perpendicular means. It's when two lines intersect and form 90-degree angles. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and use my compass here, and I'm going to place my window of my compass over this first point off to the left-hand side, which is W in my image. So I'm going to go ahead and place the window directly over W, and I'm going to press my finger down and hold very firmly so my compass here does not move. I'm now going to move my little slider tool such that it does not go beyond this point Z. Right now it's a little too far. I want to make sure that it goes just a little before Z, so I don't want to go beyond Z. We can see that it is now a little before my point Z, which is located about right here, and here is my hole here. I'm going to create an arc up above and down below. So I create my arc up above, whoops, ran out of space, and I create my arc down below. And I'm going to not touch basically my compass. I'm not going to touch specifically, I'm not going to alter the distance that's kind of saved on my tool here with this slider tool, because I'm going to repeat the process on the other side. So I'm going to turn my tool around, and I'm now going to place my window on my other point, which is point Z. Remembering now that the hole that I used was this first one, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, but now with my compass over point Z. I'm going to put my pin through my hole here, and I'm going to create my arc on the bottom side here, as well as on the top side. And this is kind of the image that I get here. The place where my two arcs that I just created, where they intersect. So you can see that they intersect up here at the top. And also there's another intersection here down at the bottom. We're going to go ahead and label those points of intersection. So this point up here, you can label it whatever letter you want, whatever letter you choose. I'm going to go ahead and choose just letter A. This point down below where my two arcs intersect down here, I'm going to go ahead and identify that point. And again, doesn't matter what letter you choose, I'm going to go ahead and choose just point B. I'm going to name this point B. I'm going to use the straight edge of my tool, and I'm going to connect point A and point B via a straight line here. So I'm going to connect these dots. What I have done is I have successfully created a perpendicular bisector. So this segment AB that goes up and down, and this segment WZ that goes from left to right, they are perpendicular to each other, meaning that they form 90-degree angles. I'm going to indicate that with this box-like symbol, and that indicates that I have 90-degree angles all around this image. I've also bisected my original line segment, which is WZ, and I'm going to indicate that with tick marks. So this segment here, from point W to, now technically I also need to name this point as well in order to communicate effectively. I'm going to label this point as, I don't know, point M. So from point W to point M, I have a specific distance there. And it is the exact same distance as this segment here from M to Z. So I'm going to indicate that with 2 tick marks to indicate that this segment here from W to M is the same as or congruent to from M to Z. I can also create geometric sentences to communicate all of these various things. So I'm going to do so along the right-hand side of my page. I'm first going to talk about what's perpendicular in my image here. Specifically, my line segment AB here. So line segment AB is perpendicular. So that symbol I just wrote, it looks like an upside down T. That is just read as perpendicular to. So line segment AB is perpendicular to my other line segment, my line segment WZ. So WZ. So line segment AB is perpendicular to line segment WZ. And that's essentially communicating that those line segments are perpendicular to each other. They form 90-degree angles. The other thing that I have to communicate in this type of construction is the bisection. Basically, when something is bisected, you get equal or congruent segments. So I can say geometrically that from point W to point M, that line segment, WM, is congruent to, because it's the same length, as my other line segment on the other side from point M to Z. So line segment MZ. So this is a construction where I actually can express 2 geometric sentences because I have several things going on here. I have things being perpendicular, so lines being perpendicular to each other, and also congruent segments because I'm bisecting my original segment. So here are my expectations when you guys face this on the test. The first thing is that you're able to actually complete the construction. So I will give you a line segment, and I want to make sure that you're able to create a perpendicular bisector for that line segment by using a straight edge and compass. I have shown how to do that, so yes, I did complete that step. My next thing is that I expect you to mark the angles within your image here as 90 degrees using that box symbol. And I have indicated that. You can see that here. My box symbol indicates and communicates, hey, I got 90-degree angles going on here. So I did complete that. My third expectation is that you will also mark your segments as congruent using tick marks. And yeah, I have done that as well. So this line segment WM and this line segment MZ, I've indicated each respectively with 2 tick marks. And because they both have 2 tick marks, that means they're congruent to each other. So I have done that successfully. The last thing, or my last expectation, is that you have expressed the perpendicular as well as the congruency using proper geometric notation or statements. And we can see that within this red writing over here. I have indicated 2 geometric statements. The first statement says that line segment AB is perpendicular to line segment WZ. My second statement specifically deals with the bisection part of this construction, and that is that line segment WM here is congruent to line segment MZ, and we can see that congruency symbol notation right here.